Hello again. There has always been a yawning chasm between what the British government feels is important and the wishes of ordinary people. Never has the gulf been stronger and wider. I think that it is fair to say that for most of us, our main priorities are that we and our families should be safe, healthy, and prosperous. This means that we worry about inflation, huge gas bills, being able to see a doctor when we want, and also about threats to our property and lives. I don't think that my own interests are purely parochial, but those are certainly the things which are top of my own list of what I want. So I want a government which will keep down my gas bill, make it possible for me to see my doctor, and one which will also catch burglars, muggers, vandals, and murderers. Here is the problem, though. Because we have a government which is morbidly concerned with climate change and determined to fall out with Russia over Ukraine, this guarantees that our gas bill will rise rather than fall. The crazy measures taken during the COVID epidemic, paying everybody to stay at home and not work, for instance, made it a racing certainty that inflation would soar through the ceiling. Those same measures meant that we can no longer see our doctors, and that the most we can hope for is to speak to them on the telephone. So although for many of us low gas bills are more important than global warming and opposing Russia, our government goes ahead anyway. Perhaps it is because most of the members of the cabinet are so rich they don't have to worry about paying bills. They usually have private medical schemes and send their kids to private schools as well. So things like the appalling standards in state schools and the political indoctrination of the children in them don't really bother them either. This is, of course, the case with the Labour Party every bit as much as it is with the Tories. It is the difference between a well-to-do political elite and people like us. 7 years ago, 16% of reported crimes ended in a suspect being charged. Last year, this had fallen to 7%, and now it's down to 5.3%. Last year saw a total of 6.3 million crimes being recorded in this country. All the worst categories, that is to say things like rape, violence against the person, and the rest of them, have reached record levels. Crime is out of control, and yet fewer criminals than ever are actually being caught. This is something which worries me as a private citizen. It doesn't seem to worry the government, though. Our present Prime Minister goes gadding off to Ukraine when he feels like it, or flying in a fighter plane because he thinks it makes him look like a wartime leader. The thumbnail to this video shows Boris Johnson tricked out like a Spitfire pilot. I seriously doubt whether either of the two candidates for Prime Minister will do any better or care any more than Johnson about what we, the people, really care about. Liz Truss was photographed a while ago in a tank in Estonia. She too thinks this makes her look heroic. To be brutally honest, I couldn't give a stuff about Estonia. I want more police on the beat, and I want to be able to sit down opposite a British doctor when I'm unwell. Sunak is so rich that I don't suppose for a moment he can imagine what it would be like to have to choose between heating and food, a situation which many pensioners and young people on state benefits will face this winter. After all the fuss about the hottest day of the year and the dangers it entailed, do you think anybody will notice when people start freezing to death in December? I don't think so for a moment. What we really need is a reset, one where politicians start to do what we want them to do, not what they think is good for us. They act as our masters, but that's not really how matters stand at all, or rather they should not stand in that way. Something has gone wrong with democracy in Britain, and it needs to be fixed urgently. Perhaps we need a period with some strong leader in charge for a while to set matters right. The present system is really not working for the great mass of ordinary people.